You planted your tomatoes, watered them, checked on them every day, and now they are just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. They are not growing, they are not dying, they are not even really wilting. They are just frozen in place. And I know how frustrating that feels, because you start wondering, did I buy bad plants? Is my soil wrong? Did I mess something up? Most of the time, the answer is much simpler. When tomato plants stop growing right after transplanting, the problem is usually not the variety or the seedling itself. It is often what happens in the first few days after planting. So let's talk about 3 very common reasons tomatoes stall after transplanting and what you should do instead. The first reason is watering the wrong way after planting. When you first set tomato plants into the garden, you do want to water them well. That helps settle the soil around the roots and gives the plant a good start. But after that first deep watering, you do not want to water every single day just because you are nervous. Here is what often happens. You plant your tomatoes. The next day, the top of the soil looks dry, so you water. Then you check again the following day, and the surface looks dry again. So you water again. It feels like good care, but it can easily turn into too much moisture around the roots. After transplanting, tomato roots are not working at full strength yet. The plant is still adjusting to a new spot. If the soil stays constantly wet and cool, the roots do not get enough air, and the plant can slow down or stop growing. That is when you see a tomato plant just sitting there. The leaves may look a little tired, and there is no new growth. Your first instinct may be to water again, but the real problem might be too much water, not too little. At the same time, the opposite can also be a problem. In hot parts of the country, especially in places like Texas, Arizona, parts of California, or the Southeast, young tomato plants can dry out fast after transplanting. Wind, sun, and raised beds can pull moisture out of the soil quickly. So the answer is not to ignore watering. The answer is to water based on the soil and the weather, not based on a fixed schedule. Do not judge only by the surface. The top inch of soil can dry out in one afternoon, while the soil around the roots is still moist. Check a little deeper. If the soil still feels damp where the roots are, wait. If it is drying out down there, water deeply. Tomatoes like steady moisture, not soggy soil, and not bone-dry soil. The second reason tomatoes stall is feeding them too soon or too heavily. When a tomato plant is not growing, it is tempting to help it with fertilizer. You think, it needs a boost, so let me feed it. That sounds logical, but right after transplanting, it is not always the best move. If the roots have not settled in yet, the plant may not be ready to take up much fertilizer. It is dealing with transplant stress. What it needs first is good moisture, mild temperatures, and time. A strong feeding too early can become one more stress for the plant, especially if the soil is already rich, or if you added compost or fertilizer at planting time. A gentle starter fertilizer can be fine if your soil is poor and you follow the label. But fertilizer should not be used as a panic button. Do not try to force a stressed tomato plant to grow faster before it has had a chance to root in. A better time to feed is when the plant starts to wake up. You will see the top looking stronger. The leaves will hold better. You may notice a little new growth. That is the plant telling you it is ready for the next step. Until then, keep things simple. Do not overwater it, do not overfeed it, and do not keep changing your plan every day. The third reason is temperature. This one is huge, especially in spring. In many parts of the United States, daytime weather can fool you. The sun comes out, the garden feels warm, and you think your tomatoes should be happy. But then the night drops into the 40s or low 50s, and tomatoes do not like that. This happens a lot in the Midwest, the Northeast, the Mountain West, and anywhere with big spring temperature swings. A tomato plant can look fine during the day, but if the nights are cold, it may just stop growing. It is not dead, it is not lazy, it is simply trying to get through the stress. The same thing can happen the other way around. If you are growing in a greenhouse, a hoop house, or even a small plastic-covered setup, it can get too hot during the day. Then the temperature drops hard at night. Those big swings can slow tomatoes down fast. So do not focus only on watering. Pay attention to temperature too. During the day, do not let the plants bake. Open the greenhouse, lift the cover, or give them airflow when it gets too warm. At night, if the forecast is chilly, use frost cloth, row cover, or another light protection. Just remember to remove or vent it when the sun comes back out so the plants do not overheat. In the first week after transplanting, protecting tomatoes from extreme temperatures can be more important than feeding them. Now, here is the main point. After transplanting, tomatoes do not need to be pushed as hard as possible. They need a calm, steady start. Water based on the soil, not fear. Feed only when the plant is ready, not because you are worried. Protect the plants from cold nights and extreme heat. If your tomatoes are not growing much for the first few days after transplanting, that can be completely normal. They may be working on roots before they work on leaves. The plant does not have to shoot upward right away. This is where many gardeners accidentally make things worse. They see no new growth, so they start watering more, feeding more, closing everything up to make it warmer, and changing something every day. But sometimes, the best thing you can do is stop interfering. Look at the plant carefully. If it is still green, the growing tip looks alive, the leaves are not dropping badly, and the plant recovers after the heat of the day, it is probably just adjusting. Give it a little time. Keep the soil evenly moist. Watch the nighttime temperatures. Protect it from extremes. Very often, after a few days, that tomato plant will settle in and start growing on its own. And once it does, you will know it was not a failure. It was just transplant shock, and the plant needed a better start.